नमस्कार दोस्तों और जय हिंद। आप सभी को स्वागत है इन माय चैनल 1971 वॉर बुक सीरीज। तो दोस्तों, आज हम बात करेंगे directly with Wing Commander Pradip Bhaduri, who took part as a flight lieutenant in the Tangail Paradrop. Today we'll be knowing a bit about Wing Commander Pradip Bhaduri's experiences in flying the C-119 Packet aircraft, Fairchild Packet aircraft, including his own experiences and a disastrous, almost accident happening case which he encountered, alongside how he worked in collaboration with the other pilots who were involved in the Tangail Paradrop from the Indian Air Force, dropped the paratroopers of the two para so that they could take part in their own operations, and eventually how the disastrous hang-up case, a paratrooper being hung up while being dragged while he flew his own packet aircraft, and eventually that paratrooper had managed to land onto East Pakistan and take part in the war. उसके बारे में भी हम आज थोड़ा जानेंगे. So let's welcome Wing Commander Pradip Bhaduri to our program today.
Okay, while in 19th Squadron, I had faced this 1971 war.
Achha.
While in 48th Squadron, I went to 62 war. While in 19th Squadron, I faced the 1971 war. In 19th Squadron, I mainly was flying from Pathankot. Although the squadron was based at Agra, but 12th Squadron and 19th Squadron were given alternate 2-year tenure at Pathankot to do air maintenance in JRK.
Air maintenance?
Air maintenance means maintaining the army.
Okay.
You see, in JRK, the army formations and units are located at far-flung areas which is inaccessible by land. To go to an army unit by land, you might take even 15 to 20 days or even a month. So how do they survive? You have to help them with all their equipment, right from fuel to medicine to all ration and all arms, ammunition, everything, kerosene. Then we used to even airdrop live goats and what do you call
Cattle.
Cattle. Yes. You know, small size cattle. From parachute karke we used to drop them, and wherever we could land, we could land. There were 4 airfields in Ladakh those days, which were really every day in use. One was Kargil, one was Thois, one was Leh, and one was at a remote place in the Far East, which is called Puongli. Puongli, F-U-K-C-H-E, Puongli. Okay. It was on the bank of the river Indus. On the other side of the river was the line of actual control by the Chinese, and on this bank of the river we had our unit, and they had prepared a advanced landing ground at Puongli. Advanced landing ground means you know what? The road roller used and pressed the soil by the side of the river to just make it a landing strip. That is the runway. And you can imagine, after every landing, they have to use the road roller to again level it. So the aircraft landing on such a landing ground would bump and roll and jump like hell.
Yeah.
Obviously, the just about steamrolled soil of the riverside and the aircraft landing. No other aircraft in the world can use such ALGs. That is the best part of Packet, and that was also the problem for which the undercarriage had to be designed so strongly that the aircraft had got into this peculiar configuration of with the undercarriage down. If you lose an engine, you will crash into the ground. I'll come to it slightly later. So Puongli was on the river side of Indus, absolutely eastern part of Ladakh. Just across the river, the Chinese were there. So we used to land there. And it was at 14,500 feet.
Okay. really at a big height.
You can imagine at 14,500 feet, you are landing on an unprepared and just steamrolled kacha track.
In the late
And this
1960s.
this aircraft is the only aircraft which would do it. That is the best part of packet. No other aircraft could survive such a landing at 14,500 feet. The undercarriage will be left on the ground after the second landing. So that was the best part of packet. So Fukshe was there, and then Thoy. Leh was the best. It had a concrete runway. Okay. But it was also on the bank of the river, Indus. And then there was Thoy. Thoy is across Leh. There is a pass called Khardungla. There is a pass called Khardungla, just west side of Leh, and across the Khardungla on the other side, the Thois river flows, and on the bank of the Thois again, like Kukshet, it was rolled and a landing strip was made. Alright. Kargil was the worst. Kargil was the worst because there was only one valley to enter and land and then take off in the same direction, come out of the valley and then fly out. You just could not do a turnaround. In case of a bad approach, if you think that you can't make it, you want to turn around and come back, you can't do it. If you enter the valley, you have to land. Either you land in one piece or in many pieces is your fate. Because if you land correctly, you land in one piece. If you don't land correctly, either you go and hit the hill at the end of the runway, or you hit the edge of the runway while landing, and your undercarriage will go into the river.
You have to do it in a very cool mind, to be honest.
Not only cool, you couldn't see the runway till such time you were on the final approach. You were entering a valley. Imagine taking a U-turn and coming around a hill and then just seeing the runway and landing. You couldn't see the runway before you turn around this hill. All the way coming from Pathankot, okay. We crossed the ridges, etc. Then you dipped into this valley. You didn't see the runway. Runway is hidden behind the ridge on the other side. You enter the valley without looking at the runway, and then you follow the valley. Then you turn around the ridge, and then after you had turned around the ridge on the other side, then you see the runway. So if you are high, then you can't land. You go and hit the hill in the end. If you are low, then you can't land. Your undercarriage will be left in the river. So that was the worst part of Kargil. And can you imagine? I did every day one sortie at Kargil.
Every day.
Every day, and not only that, there was another problem. Just across another hill on the other side of the valley. Say you are entering the valley to land at Kargil, okay? Right on the right side, across the river, on top of the hill is a Pakistani post.
You might be shot at from there.
You are quite right, and
just also keeping a watch on you.
Not only watch, their job of that post is only to disable Kargil when they want to start the war. In 1971 war, just before the war, they were aiming their guns at us. We could see them. And I had gone to evacuate a casualty one day, and the 1971 war was just about a week away, and they fired at us. And I don't know how I survived that firing and then came back. The post is meant to disable Kargil ALG during the war. So that is how we operated from Kargil. So Kargil, then Thoy.
Pakistan, one side you have China.
That's right. In Fukshe, across the river was China, and in Kargil, across the ridge, on top of the ridge actually was the Pakistani post. So this is how we operated. So in 70, I was operating for 2 years at Pathankot and flying there every day. Almost 3 sorties a day we used to do. The living was very tough. It was first takeoff, first flight, and last landing, last flight. we were airborne actually when the sun was coming up, and we were landing coming back from the sortie after just about sunset, because you can't do night flying in the valley. So, so first, and to make sure that we can do three sorties in one day, so we had to take off just about getting bright, not even bright. We were already getting airborne, and as we are getting airborne, the sun was rising, and coming back, just about clearing the hills, the sun would set, and quote unquote, and night landing procedures, there was no problem. So we had to make sure that we clear the hills by the last light. That was the job. So that is what the life at Pathankot. So I was doing this job at Pathankot, and the heat was going up and up. I am talking about 71. Okay, we were. We couldn't help it. Whether war or no war, we have to continue the air maintenance sorties. Army cannot survive without the air maintenance sorties in the hills. They are so remotely positioned actually. Okay, so one day suddenly in the morning there was absolute hell let loose. What happened? You vacate Pathankot.
Achha.
Vacate Pathankot.
So you were given the orders to vacate.
Yeah, we were given the orders. There will be no transport aircraft at Pathankot.
Achha.
Because the fighter aircraft could be hidden in the blast pans, you see. But transport aircraft has to be on the open. Absolutely. And as I told you, from Kalaikunda, we just took off, and then the sabers came in 65. And in Pathankot, they destroyed a large number of hunters and canberras. Because they were all lying on the tarmac.
Yeah.
Open in the tarmac. They had no indication that the East Pakistani fighters would come and attack. Because we had orders not to attack East Pakistan. So they took it for granted that wo bhi nahi attack karenge. But they came, and as I told you, I was very lucky. Just about a minute and a half, then we would have been shot.
Achha.
I just took off, and then they came.
My goodness. And this was on which day? 3rd of December itself, must be.
No, ये तो मैं पाकिस्तान इसकी बात कर रहा हूँ, सितंबर 65 की बात कर रहा हूँ.
September 65. Okay.
हाँ, सितंबर 65 की बात कर रहा हूँ, जो they came and attacked.
Achha.
But in 71, even 7 days before the attack, we knew that आज या कल होने वाला है. About I think end of November, we were told कि vacate Pathankot.
Achha.
Because we knew that बस आज कल होने वाला है.
Your
ठीक है?
19th squadron vacated.
19th squadron, not only 19th squadron, the entire western zones, all forward area airfields had been completely vacated by all kinds of aircraft apart from the resident fighter squadrons.
Okay.
Only the fighter squadrons aircraft were left there. Baki everybody was told to vacate. And we were sent all the way to the central peninsular region, so that we were out of the range of Pakistani aircraft.
Achha.
Only fighter aircraft were left at the forward area bases because they were in blast pans. They were not, after we learned the lesson from 65, no aircraft was parked on the blast out in the open for more than just the period of refueling and takeoff. Even our fighter aircraft, which came back from sorties, they refueled and take off. And while refueling, they will be capped on overhead.
Achha.
So all the transport aircraft, all aircraft other than fighter aircraft were told to vacate. So we were told vacate Pathankot. Now we put everything in the aircraft and flew away, leaving all our people back there at Pathankot. And Rajendra Bhaduri and his sister and his mother and one dog, they were packed up from Pathankot and told them कि you just go. You can't, because our accommodation was on the side of the runway because we were temporary, 2 years tenure. So we were not permanent residents of the airfield or the station. We were temporary accommodation on the side of the runway, and they knew कि the runway will be attacked and
These
the accommodations.
accommodation will be bombed for sure.
It was bombed. On the third evening when they came, our accommodation was bombed, and my wife lost her luggage because she was told to vacate. So two children and a dog, and she was from Pathankot. She was put in a train, and then she was told either you go to Calcutta, your parents' place, or you go to Agra, where is your permanent location. So she Delhi, she changed her train to come to Agra.
Acha.
So that is how they came to Agra. Okay. And in fact, and Agra also, Raju may not remember, the day they arrived, after I think the same evening or whatever, the Pakistani campers came and bombed Agra.
Okay.
Okay. So they were in the park playing, and madam was standing on the road. Suddenly she found Canberra aircraft coming very low. But she said, no, they don't look like our aircraft. Their color was different and dark green or whatever. Then they heard the bomb blasting at the runway. So they also experienced the Pakistani bombing.
3rd December, I would say.
The 3rd December. That's right, 3rd December. Okay. So that is how we left Paratroopers, but we were quarantined at abandoned but reactivated airfield at Papamo, near Allahabad.
Okay.
During the Second World War, the Americans had built large number of airfields around, like in Kalaikunda, they had 3 or 4 airfields around. Then the other day I went to Kacharapada. I found a huge runway there.
Yeah. That was used by the Armored Corps in 71 itself. The tanks. PT-76.
That's right. I found a huge runway.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
They kept the tanks inside actually.
That's right. So there is also a group of I think Ashok Nagar, Banga or whatever. There is a huge runway there. Long back, while in college, I went there to visit a friend of mine, and I found that a huge wide concrete road. Then on inquiry, I came to know this is not a road, this was a runway. That's it. So we went to Papamo, and we were operating from there day and night. We were flying non-stop, no rest, nothing, no question of rest. Like I tell you one example. One day I took off from Papao at night. I was told to go to Kalaikunda, some job, whatever, flying fighter squadrons transportation or whatever. I don't remember what was it. In Kalaikunda. From there, after loading, offloading, refueling, I went to Panagar. Loading, offloading, refueling, I went to Dum Dum. Again, from there, I was sent to Hashimara. All this is happening at night. At night, you can imagine those days, all the facilities, navigation facilities are out, cities are all blacked out, and you are flying like a bat.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the lights on the runway were also not on all the time.
Nothing. I'll tell you, in this episode only it happened to me.
Okay.
You see, so I took off from Kalaikunda, I went to Panagar, from Panagar I went to Dum Dum, and from Dum Dum I went to Hashimara. Non-stop happening. Okay, I reached Hashimara sometime mid morning, and there I was told the fighter squadron there had moved to Adampur or somewhere, and I was to take the whatever was their maintenance equipment, their personnel, their arms, ammunition, their rockets, motors, everything, and shift them to Hashimara, the Adampur or somewhere, I think.
71 itself, sir.
71 की बात कर रहा हूँ.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what happened was that the fighter squadrons तो flying करके चले गए. Okay. but they will not be able to start their operation unless the squadron moves, the whole equipment moves, their armed ammunition moves.
Yeah.
Because, so whatever was there was pushed into my aeroplane, and the airplane was, the cargo compartment was completely overloaded, right from the tip to the tail, and then from ground to the roof.
Okay.
There was not a space to spare, and the aircraft won't taxi. It was so overloaded badly, full power, and then it started moving slowly. The load master was giving me a very dirty look, sir. Will you take off? I said, अब क्या करेगा? Armed forces है, airforce है, लड़ाई चल रहा है. We can't help it. Before we land there, the fighter squadron will not be able to start operating. चलो. And whatever little knowledge of packet flying I had gathered by then, I had to use all that to just about, lift off the runway at the end of it. Absolutely at the end, and we just cleared the fence of the airfield, and we got airborne.
Just
Okay.
imagine if it even hit the fence, like, yeah.
It was like that. The fence was coming up, but still we were on the ground. What can you do if you abandon the takeoff? You will crash, and if you hit the fence, then again you crash. But you can't help it. It is over, भाई. बोला ना वो जो 65 में हुआ था. The major said कि आपने pass कर गया. I said what pass? I didn't even see what the fighter aircraft was doing, and he didn't know what I was saying, and I passed. But no, it passed. It is a war, boy. You can't help it. It is fighting. You go and fight there. So that's how it ended up at 1-4 headquarters at Jammu. Anyway, so we took off. All right, now because I took off, ये पूरा सामान वामान भरते भरते it was quite late in the day, and it was about evening. I was flying over the river near Patna, on way to Adampur or whatever. And suddenly my left engine was on fire.
Okay. Suddenly, out of the blue.
It just happened, dup, and then the पूरा engine में fire लग गया. And the load master, the engineer, flight engineer, he was almost in tears because the aircraft was full of bloody ammunition and rocket motors and guns. Okay, and napalm containers, and the engine is on fire, and the aircraft won't maintain height because it was too badly overloaded. With full power on the live engine, still she won't maintain height, and it was descending. Now, I had an option to call Patna because there was no other airfield nearby, known. So I called Patna. Patna said, "What is your cargo?" So I said, I told him that there were explosives. So he got so scared. He said, "Sir, we don't have night landing facilities, and it is going to be dark by the time you arrive here. So we can't accept you. Good night." He just switched off. This happens during war. He just said, "We can't accept you. There is no night landing facilities, and by the time you arrive, it will be dark. We cannot accept you." Because civil aircraft, civilian history.
Civil aviation, yeah.
Patna was civil aviation, so they won't do what the Airforce will do. So they said, "We can't help it. We can't accept you. So good night." He just switched off. No more. Hello. So I said, "Now what to do?" Then the navigator told me, "Sir, there is an abandoned but reactivated airfield called Beta nearby." I said, "Give me a course for Beta." So we headed for Beta. Then I called them up. They said, "Sir, we don't have." Beta was abandoned, deactivated airfield. They had no night landing facilities. And for night landing, in emergency, they used to put gooseneck. Do you know what is gooseneck? No. It is like a paraffin lamp.
Okay.
It is like a paraffin lamp with a long neck. That is why it is called gooseneck. And they place it every 100 yards or so, all on the sides of the runway to create a landing facility, night landing facility.
To guide the pilot.
So, to
guide the pilot.
Quite right, quite right. Otherwise, we won't see the runway.
Yeah.
He said, sir, it will take quite a long time to lay these good necks. So what do we do? I said, I can't help it, man. The aircraft is not maintaining height, and I have got explosives on board. My engine is on fire. I am shutting it down, but I am on one engine. I have to land at your place. Patna I had switched off. He said, sir, okay, please come in, but we will have to use transports to put the headlights on and place them on one end of the runway and one or two on the other side of the runway, and we have to land with the help of these transport lights only. I said, well, what can't be done can't be done. So I have to land. I have to land. Very simple.
Right.
So like that on one engine, with all these explosives on board,
As well.
and it is and coming night is I mean it is becoming dark, and with only two transport lights at the other end of the dumbbell, I approached and landed at Beta. Okay, so now the aircraft is crippled because the engine has to be changed,
Yeah.
otherwise it can't fly. So I had to stay back. Now they had can you imagine during war everything happens. Overnight, my squadron at Papamau sent a replacement aircraft
Okay.
and
Another packet, right, sir?
another packet,
Okay.
and the entire load was transhifted from this crippled aircraft to the new aircraft, and because it was explosives and all that, I couldn't go and lie down and sleep in the mess. I had to stand there and see what is happening. So we were at the tarmac under the aircraft. The aircraft was offloaded, new aircraft was loaded, and we again took off. So imagine I had taken off from Papamau the previous night, and I am still flying continuously without any rest or any recuperation. Okay, and we took off almost it was becoming morning. We took off from there, and we landed at Alampur. No rest, nothing, no breakfast, nothing. We were told just refuel and go. We won't let any transport aircraft on tarmac during the daytime. So we had no other, couldn't do anything. We just offloaded all that and then got refueled and took off. Then we what? It was by the time we did all that, it was evening. And then we were on their way. Kahan jayenge? Where do we go now? It says you go to Papamau. So Papamau, then we were in a hurry, whatever little we could refuel. Then we wouldn't make Papamau. Then they said, okay, you land at Delhi.
अच्छा.
Landed Delhi. यही तुम कह रहे थे ना कि रनवे लाइट भी नहीं होता था.
Right, right.
यही we are heading for Delhi in pitch dark condition. Everywhere they had lights out, and you can imagine without any navigation aids, nothing, just on our compass of the aircraft, and using I don't know, the navigator could have probably helped me from taking shots of the stars or whatever he did, I don't know. So we reached Delhi. But how to land? So we were told Delhi, we were somewhere near Delhi, but we can't make out where is the runway. Can you put up the runway light? Then whatever you said, just now they put on the runway light. Just for 30 seconds.
Just for 30 seconds.
Just for 30 seconds. So definitely you oriented yourself and then carry on. We'll put it off now. So they put it off. So we were carrying on like bats again. And then suddenly when I thought it is very close, they said, "Bhai, runway lights again." Then again put on the runway light, but this was for only 10 seconds. So they told me, you align with the runway before I will shut down the lights. So we did that, and then finally I said, "Bhai, I am low and near the runway. So now you put on the runway light." They put on the runway lights, and I landed. Okay, and then I got refuel, and they told me, we are not permitting you to stay here. You go. So where do you go? You go. We are not interested where you go, but you are not staying at Delhi. So we said, chalo, let's go to Agra, our home base. We went to Agra. Agra also they said, no, we can't let you stay here. You refuel and take off. So in spite of being at my home base, in spite of these boys and ma'am staying at Agra, I couldn't see them. I had to refuel and take off again, and then I landed at Pamama. Can you imagine all these days, no rest, no bath, no food, nothing. Wherever there is a sandwich, you just munch the sandwich, there's a cup of tea or coffee, you have a cup of tea or coffee and take off. So I have been flying more than 24 hours continuously and then landed at Pamama and absolutely drained out. I didn't know what was happening to me. It was like that. As you just said, the runway bhi light nahi hota tha. It happened at Delhi. Okay, so it happened. Now, then on the, I think 10th or so, 10th, 11th, the Tangail drop.
Right.
Okay. 10th morning, we were told, okay, go. There is an operation, but details nobody had explained. You go to Kalaikunda, there you will be briefed. So we went to Kalaikunda, and there the briefing was taken place. And in the Tangail drop, actually 6 N12s took part. Their job was to drop the heavy equipment. All the heavy equipment of 2 para and their field regiment.
Like artillery and jeeps.
Field artillery regiment and 2 para heavy equipment. 6 N12s were in 2 weeks of 3 aircraft each. They went and dropped the equipment and went away.
Okay.
Then packets went. There were 20 packets.
20.
Okay. Again, in weeks of formation of 3 aircraft. 3 aircraft behind, all stacked higher. Because they cannot fly in the same level. Mid-air collision is possible. So that is why the first aircraft drops and goes, then the second week comes at about 500 feet higher and then drops and goes. The third aircraft comes again 500 feet higher and drops and goes. And then the next week of 3 aircraft will come again at the low level. Do you get it? So that is the way it happens. Weeks of 3 aircraft, drops and goes. Then the next 3 aircraft, etc., they come and drop and go. So packets did what? The medium stroke light equipment and the rest of the paratroopers.
Okay.
You see, the packet aircraft is an aircraft which, unlike any other, the end of the cargo compartment has a pair of clamshell doors. Clamshell, you understand what?
Clamshell doors, right.
Clamshell doors. They can be opened and closed, they can be removed also altogether.
Okay.
When heavy equipment or medium equipment are being paradrop, then the clamshell doors are removed altogether.
Achha.
Okay, so that the equipment is rolled over, they roll on the ground, on the floor. So the equipment is rolled and then it is rolled out and dropped.
Achha.
Okay, so that is the I think no other aircraft has this arrangement.
And the paratroopers down will open these rolls and...
For paratroopers, there are 2 doors, one on the left side, on the right side, just short of the clamshell door.
Okay.
Okay, so they jump one from the left side, one from the right side. When only paratroopers jump.
Achha.
But if the heavy equipment or medium equipment are being dropped and followed by paratroopers, then they drop out from the rear of the cargo compartment, open cargo compartment itself.
Achha.
But when no heavy equipment are being dropped and the clamshell doors are closed, then there are 2 doors on the sides. Just short of the clamshell doors hinges, there are 2 doors on the side, one on the left, one on the right. The best part of paratrooping from packet aircraft is that after the paratroopers leave the aircraft, there is no chance of hitting any tailplane or the fins of the aircraft. But what in all the other aircraft, such a comfort is not available for the paratrooper. So they are very happy jumping off the packets.
Acha.
You ask any paratrooper which aircraft you think is the best for paratrooping, they will say packet. Okay, so the packets, their clamshell doors were off, and they dropped the equipment, and then followed by the paratroopers. So 20 each aircraft had something like 50 paratroopers.
50. Okay.
Okay, and then followed by Dakotas. There were 22 Dakotas. So they only dropped paratroopers. They didn't drop any equipment.
Acha.
So that was all. Now the drop direction was something like 045, northeasterly.
Acha.
The DZ which was found most suitable for the entire drop was marked, and then the direction was like northeasterly direction,
I think
045.
before the operation, 106 Canberras took photos of the drop zone.
Of course, 106 Canberras did a yeoman's job, did 71 more, taking photographs everywhere.
Acha, acha.
Western sector, eastern sector combined. Their job is to take photographs. Their only job. They don't use bombs to drop for bombing.
Being
Their
Canberra
only job,
themselves.
their only job, 106 squadron's only job is to take photographs. And these photographs are used to plan operations. So they did all that. And then actually this operation was planned in October.
October. Okay.
I don't know how many people know about it. In October, this operation was planned for D+5. D+5 means the day the operation starts on the fifth day.
So it means 8th of December, but it happened on the 11th.
Actually, because of the way the fighting progressed, we had to adjust. But it was originally planned for D+5.
Right.
That means, and D was not known now. D was not known because we depended on the attack of Pakistan. So Pakistan attacked on 3rd. So ideally speaking, the paradrop should have taken place on the 8th of December.
Right.
Okay, but because of the movement of the armed forces, Pakistani as well as Indian, the thing got delayed, and it was decided later that it will be on the 11th. Acha. And the problem was that we couldn't mount it on the in the night, because there will be a lot of casualties. They wouldn't know where the hell they are dropping. And many people don't know that paratrooping doesn't mean you come down to stand on the ground happily. For the last 15 feet, you just drop like a stone. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, you have to jump, you have to roll down, I guess.
Yes. Last 15 feet, you just drop like a stone. So every paratrooper, bundles himself into a rolling position. And then the moment he touches the ground, he rolls along with the drag. And then he comes up. So at night, in an area which you don't know, like dropping at the DZ at Agra, that is a piece of cake. Day or night, you know exactly kahan par kya hai, and the field is also plowed and etc. But dropping during war in an area, I don't know, to Second World War का movies में देखा ना, कोई चिमनी में गिर रहा, कोई घर का छत में गिर रहा, कोई transmission cable में फंस गया. This all happens. That is why
stuck on the trees. Yeah.
Quite right. That was why we decided we'll do it during daytime, not broad daytime, but not at night also. So the TOT was selected to be 1600 hours. Okay, 1600 hours, so that they would have enough time to regroup and start their advance before it is night. And not also broad daylight, because then the Pakistani army would probably react and interfere with our paratrooping.
Somewhere like in the
And
late evening, late
yeah,
afternoon.
that's why. That's why. But also we had to take care and take into account that the Pakistani Air Force, the East Pakistani Air Force was totally decimated. Otherwise, paratrooping exercise like this, with almost 1,000 people being dropped, would have been a massacre
Yeah.
if Pakistani Air Force was able to interfere. So we had to make. That is why also we got delayed.
And I think there was no possible ground fire from down there as well.
Ground fire, immediate vicinity they wasn't there, but they were around.
Acha.
Like the bridge we were to capture, there was some units positioned there, but they didn't have occupation of that bridge. क्या bridge का नाम क्या है? क्या?
Poongli Bridge. There was almost no resistance, but
That's right. That's right. That's right. That was our first target to occupy and secure the bridge for our crossing. So there were some resistance, but not in the immediate vicinity. That is why, and also we made sure that the East Pakistani Air Force was totally decimated, inactive. Otherwise, we couldn't do it. Even then, we had MiGs and NATs as top cover.
acha.
In spite of the fact that the East Pakistani Air Force was almost non-existent, but even then we had MiGs and NATs for top cover. And 1600 hours the TOT for the first drop, and the drop was complete by 1630. So that is it.
So coming to Tangail Paradrop, sir, I would like to have your experience in the dropping.
That drop was, hair-raising affair. So many aircraft, my God. In front, somebody has dropped, and these paratroopers are dropping down, and then you are flying. Actually, if you are not careful, with such a huge number of aircraft dropping paratroopers, there could have been large number of accidents. In training sorties, in formation drop, there has been an occurrence when the aircraft behind plowed through the paratroopers dropping from the front aircraft. Whereas here you can imagine 22 Dakotas and 20 packets and 6 AN-12s. After Second World War, this was the largest paradrop operation. Nobody has tried out this kind of paradrop anywhere in the world after Second World War. Okay, Second World War people had no choice. They had to, you liked it or not, they had to jump. Okay, but now we have come to a stage when you have to weigh what are the chances of success and what are the chances of failure, and every life is so important these days. Okay. You spend so much of colossal amounts on maintaining your forces, Air Force or Army or whatever, that you can't afford to just say that it is a collateral damage and we will accept it. No, we can't accept collateral damage anymore. Even our own people, our own assets cannot be sacrificed just like that. So you can imagine N-12 aircraft सामने जा रहा है, they were almost within sight distance, because between 1600 and 1630 the entire 1000 plus people with their equipment had to be dropped. You can't stretch it for a very long time, because then the enemy will react.
Yeah.
You have to finish it quickly. So the planning had to be so meticulous. The N-12s came, all these aircraft, 60 aircraft couldn't have been located in any one airfield. Okay, then there would have been the possibility of a stray enemy action, and then everything would be completely destroyed. So they had to be dispersed. The packets from one airfield, the Dakotas from another airfield, the N-12s from somewhere else. But we had to make sure that we reach the target, like N-12s had to reach the target at 1600. Then the packet would be at 1605. and then the packets, entire packets, the 20 packets would be 3 weeks, 3 aircraft weeks, one after the other. Okay, and then after about 3 minutes, the entire Dakotas. So you can imagine what a melee was there. It was a hair-raising experience, and with so many we could see the dots in the aircraft in front of you, the descending, and you are just about flying over them. They are descending down below, and you are flying over them, and you are releasing in the same area. Only thing is that the people who had jumped earlier would land a minute, maybe 30 seconds or a minute before your people start landing. And they should not be colliding on the
Pathfinders, I would say.
The Pathfinder is the one who first reaches the DZ and drops its flares. That is called a Pathfinder. The first aircraft, which is they identify the DZ and then drop the flares to they indicate the dropping positions. Okay, so that is a Pathfinder, and in fact we had staged a decoy. Caribous were used to stage a fake paratrooping about 20 kilometers away.
Acha. 20 kilometers away, and this was the same date.
Same day.
Yeah.
Just before our dropping, the Caribous were sent to stage manage a drop. Okay, they dropped some fake parachutes also, no human beings,
Acha. Dummies.
dummies. Okay, so that was fake, so that they initially they get attracted, even if they were around somewhere nearby, they would
Enemy
be.
would be diverted there.
Yes, they could be fooled. To fool them, we stage managed a drop 20 kilometers away. Okay, so that was also done. That was just before our drop, and then as I said, we could see the MiGs and the Nats giving us top cover during the process and during the RV and during the assembly. One is the ground assembly from where people take off.
Paratrooper side, RV. There are.
And here it is in the air also we have to assemble and strict timings absolutely on IP and RV. The timings were given that you have to arrive at that particular time because the time frame was very jammed within a few minutes. In 30 minutes you can see 20 and 42 and about 50 aircraft. 50 aircraft would pass over the same area and complete their operation and the dropping in just about half an hour's time. So you can imagine how precise the flying had to be. And everybody was so tense, the navigator particularly. And then from every 30 seconds he will come up with his corrections and whatever. And keeping the formation is also very tough. And it is going to be evening. So fortunately, our run-in was 045. If it was 0275, then you would be in great trouble. Bring the point that the sun was behind us. We were heading in northeasterly direction to keep the sun behind us. Otherwise, it would have been terrible to fly into the sun and also properly keeping distance and make sure that you don't collide. So that is how the direction of the drop was also considered and decided. So you can imagine now you are sitting in a cockpit with one aircraft onto your left, one aircraft onto your right, and then you have to keep position because if you stray out, then the aircraft behind will get distracted, and then this keeping position in a formation is very tough. Especially in a twin or multi-engine aircraft. Single engine aircraft you are slightly more comfortable, but in a twin multi-engine aircraft to keep in position during formation is very difficult. And also you have to maintain height. If that fellow is here, you can't be here. You have to be absolutely in level. So flying, keeping formation, and taking keeping track of your timing. All this is very tense activity. But if you are comfortable, if you are not stressed up, then it will become easy. If you get dressed up, then the trouble starts. Actually, you have to be very comfortable. You have to make it. I mean, take it as if it is a part of the job. You can't help it, so do it. So that is how. So
I'm very cool-minded.
if you are not cool, you are in trouble. If you are not you can imagine if you are holding the control column with all your strength, then you are in trouble. Then you have to hold it like you are milking a cow. You have to fly the aircraft with that kind of mind. That it's part of the game. I've done it earlier. I'm doing it now. But doing it earlier in a training exercise or over a training desert is a completely different thing than actually doing it in war. So that like builds up your pressure inside. But you have to release the pressure, otherwise you are in trouble. You will either get yourself killed or you'll hurt somebody else. So like my hang up chap. You see,
It happened with your aircraft, sir.
in my aircraft, the last but one fellow. What happens is, you know how the paratrooping action takes place. There is a cable,
Static line cable, I would say.
static line cable, which starts from the bulkhead behind the cockpit and stretches right up to the end of the cargo compartment. It is a fixed line. On this line, the hooks are attached of the parachute's teeth.
Okay.
Parachute teething line is attached to this hook, the cable, the static cable. And as the paratrooper goes near the door, this is dragged along. Okay. Now he jumps. The cord starts unreeling from the end of the parachute. At the back of the parachute, the cord is actually just about folded in such a way that it can freely come out. So as he jumped off the aircraft, the cord is now freely releases from the back of the parachute. When the cord is completely extended, it pulls a pin which opens the parachute.
Achha.
You get the point? There is that static line on which this his release cord is hooked, which slides along the wire. It is not fixed. It slides along the wire. Like all these fellows are standing in line, no? Watch out near the gate.
As far as I know, they hook up and they slide.
It slides. The cord slides along that static line. The fellow jumps out, his cord goes, and then his pin is released, and that thing sticks outside only. That line is outside. It is not pulled up immediately. The fellow next step goes, his parachute gets released, his cord also is extended or still stuck to the line. The third, fourth, fifth, 20 chaps dump. All these 20 lines are to be now reeled back inside. Lines अंदर कर लिया, then दरवाजा बंद कर दिया. Paratrooping is over. Now, in my case, the last but one chap on one line. What happens is, यहाँ पर तो ये hooked है. Static line में एक one end is hooked, the other end releases that pin from his parachute. There something goes wrong and the pin doesn't get released.
Okay. So he'll be dragged.
You get the point? So the pin is not released and this line is hooked on the static line and he is stuck.
Okay.
Moment shouldn't take place, but it happened. So once the spin gets stuck somehow or the other, it will not release. So the fellow is hooked to that line and he is now spinning behind the slipstream, spinning like this as well as spinning in a circle. He is spinning along the line as well as spinning in a circle. And with so much of noise and so much of rushing air at 160, 120 knots, normally the fellow gets unconscious, normally, because it flat, I mean the ears are punished and then he cannot concentrate, he cannot focus his eyes, so all this totally affects into unconsciousness. Some people are partially unconscious, some people get completely unconscious. Now, problem is, as I told you, the last 10 to 15 feet you drop like a stone. So there you have to bend your knees and ball your body into a round stance, and then you roll along with the drag, and then you can get up. But here the fellow is already unconscious. So he drops like a load. Now if he drops on an area which is friendly or physically or by operations or whatever, then there is a likelihood of his survival. If he doesn't hit the ground on the head or whatever, we don't know how he is going to hit. But if he is semi-conscious, then he might be able to manage his role. But if he is unconscious, then he just drops.
He's in trouble.
So but at least, what you do now? What you do? You attach a separate parachute along with the line which is already stuck. With the static line, his parachute line is stuck. Okay. So with this line, you attach another line and a new parachute.
But you have to when the guy is sort of like being dragged.
Yeah, that's right. He's going round and round in circles. But this side of the line, parachute line, which is stuck with the static line, you attach a new line and a new parachute and tie it up. And then you cut this original line from the hook so that now he is released with this new parachute, which will open because now you have checked everything. So he is now on a extended line. The first part of the line which was stuck with his parachute, and now you have attached a new parachute with a new line. So that is how he starts dropping. His parachute opens and he starts dropping. I just somehow or the other managed to talk to some people of his battalion when I was at Agra. Because these people are all from Agra only, the Para Regiment, Para Battalion, from their group, I inquired and came to know that that fellow survived.
I think he not only survived, he also joined up with Mukti Bahini and fought.
Later, I came to know that. So that was a great satisfaction on my part.
In the next part of our video, we will be learning about how he served in the Indian Air Force for the rest of his career, and also a bit about his own son who had joined the Indian Armored Corps and retired as a colonel, also being an aviator himself.